Bubba Wallace's shocking gesture nearly took over the racing world. But why his salute sparked a heated controversy, dividing fans and officials. And with everything that happened, why NASCAR decided not to penalize him? Stay tuned to NASCAR Zone till the end to find out what's going on. But before we dive into that, do subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Sunday's $1 million All-Star Race was a great race for NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace. Racists just couldn't let him have his moment without talking about themselves. As the number 23 driver crossed the finish line in second place, someone was able to send hateful texts through his team's radio system.
Where you came from, you asshole. You suck and you're not wanted in NASCAR.
A representative for 2311 Racing told the news organization that Wallace did not hear the comments or acknowledge them at the time. How does an unknown person get on a driver's radio during the race? Most teams try to limit how much they talk on the radio, so the driver doesn't have to listen to a lot of different voices while going 200 miles per hour. It's crazy that NASCAR's only black driver has to keep balancing all of these things with the hard work of being a race car driver. Sunday should have been a big win for him, but whenever Bubba has a big day, racist crap always gets in the way. NASCAR's security operation is looking into the situation to find out and got into his radio channel and how. On Saturday, when the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series drivers were being introduced, he was booed. When asked how the crowd reacted after the race, Wallace said that it does that every week.
Can I ask you a quick question about the boos after the end of the truck race?
It's every week. Yeah. How does it make you feel?
Not great.
Okay.
I mean, you did well today.
Thanks.
So it doesn't bother you at all?
I mean, yeah, but it's
Still
sports. It's sports. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be there.
It wasn't on a different level today than any other day?
You're really close to the stage. I mean, that does make a difference. You're closer to the stadium, so closer to the seats, so that's part of it. But it's going to be there every weekend.
And it doesn't impact, I mean, what should
I
people,
finished
what,
fifth.
the people who do the booing, what should they know about how that impacts you or doesn't?
Hey, as long as you continue to live your life judging a book by its cover, that's who you are. Don't change it up for anybody else. That's the biggest thing. That's fine. I mean, I finished fifth. I got a good payday. I'm good.
When Bubba Wallace became a NASCAR driver, he knew what he was getting into. He knew it would be tough. But that doesn't mean he should have to listen to a bunch of nonsense and shut up. Bob Pockrass said that the problem was being looked into by NASCAR. Pockrass said that some fans can listen in on a team's radio chats because the radio bands are open to the public. It is possible that someone could have used a UHF radio to broadcast on Bubba Wallace's station for less than $50. When there were a lot of radio signals, like at a racetrack, a system like CTCS is often used. This system forces the radio to send a number of coded tones at the beginning of each transmission. Without those tones, Bubba Wallace's radio would not have been able to pick up the signal. This is not the first time that the series has had to deal with problems like this. In the year 2020, a knotted noose was found in Wallace's shed. An investigation by the FBI found that the garage door rope had been tied in a hangman's knot a year before Wallace was given the stall. But this was not all when Bubba Wallace was about to be interviewed by Fox Sports' Jamie Little in the pits. As the driver of the number 23 Toyota went to fix the top of his fire suit, he flipped the bird, which could be seen by everyone watching Fox Sports 1 and those who were close to him. If he was really trying to hide it by adjusting his suit, the best grade he can get is an E. Some people called for Wallace to be punished because it looked like he was giving the fans the finger. Fox Sports' Bob Pockrass stated that NASCAR will not punish Wallace in any way for the inappropriate gesture. This suggests that the governing body thought Wallace was doing it more as a joke to a friend than to be offensive. The choice doesn't come as much of a surprise, given how NASCAR has acted when drivers have done similar things while being filmed. Still, the idea that it wasn't done on purpose is a strange way for NASCAR to say that he shouldn't be punished. They have let drivers off the hook in the past for doing the same thing, even though it was done maliciously and clearly aimed at another driver because of something that happened on the racetrack. Talking more about Wallace, he has never been afraid to criticize himself or his team, when things didn't go as planned on race day. When people criticize him, he is often hard on himself, and sometimes his team has to take the heat as well. He admitted in an interview before the PT Crew Challenge for the North Wilkesboro All-Star Race that he has let his emotions get the best of him and said things he later regretted.
You know, it's nice to have the spotlight, like give those guys a spotlight, right? I think oftentimes I'm guilty of it, throwing those guys under the bus after bad races, but this is cool. It's kind of bringing that pit stop challenge back, and our pit crew this year has been solid. They've been really, really good. Kansas was really good for us, rebounded last week from that first stop, but I'm excited. I was talking to those guys. I was like, I think we have a legit shot at laying down a good time. We just got to go and execute. So it's a little bit different. We've spent meetings and meetings and meetings on how to maximize this opportunity. Usually when that happens, it's that saying, like, don't overthink it. We just got to go out and execute. Our Columbia Toyota Camry looks good, though. We're already winning there.
Wallace's mistake during the task cost the team a chance to be first in the timesheets. He didn't stop far enough in his pit box, so the team had to change the car, which cost them time. In a funny twist, the number 23 team got P23 in the task. The fastest of them was Ty Gibbs's and Joe Gibbs's number 45 crew. The two-time Cup winner made up for his bad luck by running his best all-star race ever. Wallace could have kept up with Kyle Larson's number 5 H&S Chevy if he had a faster car. He started the race in 10th place and, like Larson, worked his way to the top. Both drivers were using the same plan, but the number 5 team had the advantage because they were more experienced. And moving further, let's not leave behind NASCAR's wonderful night that happened on Sunday with this incident. It was a dream come true for so many individuals who had never given up hope of seeing racing at North Wilkesboro return. It was all about restoring a valued location. It was the ideal circumstance for NASCAR's 75th anniversary season to see modern Cup Series cars compete on the same rough North Wilkesboro pavement, where Petty and Earnhardt once drove. It couldn't be more of a throwback to see Speedway Motorsports restore a dead track and not only clean it up enough to conduct a race, but also create a jam-packed, electrifying environment worthy of any NASCAR All-Star event. Throughout the weekend, everyone in the garage continued asking each other, "So, what do you think?" It was fascinating to notice how frequently the bizarre character of what was happening eluded description. The old place was not only restored to its former beauty, but it was also in the greatest condition the venue has ever seen. North Wilkesboro was abandoned in the midst of NASCAR's expansion in order to pursue a broader national audience, so it sat and sat with structures deteriorating into a dilapidated heap of rubble. Then came Sunday, when it appeared like every seat was taken by a fan who had to go through a Taylor Swift-style ticket process just to get there. North Wilkesboro was like one of those 1980s retro t-shirts you find in a box that suddenly becomes more precious and sought after as antique clothes than it was in its original state. It lasted long enough to become fashionable again, and in the case of the track, it required the most improbable of circumstances to resurrect it. The All-Star race would not have occurred without Dale Earnhardt Jr. and friends weed-whacking the track in 2019 just to save it for racing. Nor would it have occurred without a global pandemic that resulted in a government infusion aimed at reviving a reeling economy. On Sunday, there was definitely liveliness in the place. This track hosted the last race of NASCAR's inaugural Cup Series season in 1949 when Red Byron defeated Lee Petty to win the championship. Until Sunday, the most recent winner was Jeff Gordon in 1996. Before that race, the drivers posed for a group shot as a send-off. And now, after a 27-year absence from the schedule, it appears to be here to stay for many years to come. The facility turned out to be a lovely mix of old and new, with some of the track's amenities outperforming those of venues erected after Wilkesboro was abandoned. However, administrators maintained enough of Wilkesboro's old self and signs to give the impression that visitors were entering a time machine. And they sort of were, which resulted in a lot of enthusiasm, energy, and overall positive vibes throughout the weekend. That's all for today. Hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to see more of our videos on NASCAR updates. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.